Hey, what's going on, everybody? I know it's an hour early for me starting this live stream. Usually I started at 1, but I said I wanted to start a little bit earlier today because I actually do have to go to work later on today, and I don't want to be on here the whole time. I want to get a little bit of rest before I have to leave out. So I'm starting it early, and I'm gonna probably end it maybe around 2:30, maybe. I think that should probably be enough time for me to get all the stuff that needs to be talked about out. I see it's 15 people watching, but I don't see anybody in the chat. Oh, there we are. What's going on, Ashen, Gamer G, King Hebrew? What's going on, Black Steel 99, Donna Thrilling Stories, Hood Mistress? Yeah, because I know a lot of people was probably expecting 1 o'clock, but not 12 o'clock. But I decided to start it earlier today, and it was completely spontaneous because I was still going to do. I was like, am I going to wait till 1, or I'm gonna just go ahead and do it now? And I think like I said, I want to do it now is because I'm gonna be covering stuff from the last 2 weeks. Because as y'all know, last week I wasn't able to live stream because I had to go to work and be there at 1:30. So it was no way I would have been able to do it. So I'm gonna be covering stuff that happened last week and stuff this week. So I needed the extra hour. What's going on, Dallas, Fort Worth, Sonia, Joseph, Jeremiah? He said one day you're gonna get brave enough to join. You don't have to be scared to get onto the hangout. I mean, this is like it's real simple. Don't be scared to join something like this. But what I think I'm gonna do is like going forward is if people want to join the hangout, I'm gonna ask them that they send me an email to my to the email where people send me stories that they want me to talk about instead of just posting the link into the chat because anybody can just come on. You never know, just to keep the trolls out. But today I'm not going to open up the panel to anybody. I'm just giving y'all a heads up. This is just going to be me talking today. 2 weeks ago I opened it up and it was very interesting, but I'm not going to do that today. Oh yeah, most definitely, King Hebrew. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Yeah, Gamer G, that's actually going to be one of the topics I'm going to talk about. That's probably the first thing I'm going to talk about since I just posted a video about it. I was actually going to say that towards the end of my live stream, but I said let me go ahead and get that out of the way, and then just focus on everything else afterwards, because a lot of people have wanted to know my stance on that entire situation. But anyway, how was y'all week, or should I say weeks? Your last 2 weeks, since I couldn't ask you that last week. Hood Mystery said depressing. Well, I hope everything works out for you. You know, depression, that's a serious thing. I think we've all been there a time or two. Just make sure that you have someone that you can talk to about that. My week was pretty, pretty interesting. It was pretty good. It was pretty much a packed week last week for me because the season at my other job has started. So now it's going to start to become more busy throughout the week. See, when it was the summertime, everything was off season, so it wasn't a lot of stuff going on. That's why you was able to get more videos out of me. Oh, that's good. You're going to go visit your family. Oh, you said Dallas. You said you got a speeding ticket. Mm. I can honestly say, like, I've had my vehicle for well over a year now, and I have not gotten one traffic violation. I haven't gotten a parking ticket. I haven't gotten a speeding ticket. I haven't received a ticket for maybe running a stop sign or running through a red light. I haven't gotten in a car accident, and I'm knocking on wood right now because I don't want to jinx myself. What's going on, Quincy? 334 dollars for speeding? Sheesh. How fast were you going? And what was the speed limit? 20 miles over. Yeah, you were going pretty fast then. I know Ashton knows. I actually just got the notification, but I'm gonna have to DVR because I won't be at home to see it. Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that Ashton. He was kind of up in age when he was on the show, but I didn't know that he had passed. I have the Waze app on my phone. That's probably one of the best navigation apps to have, especially because they can detect when law enforcement is nearby. Yeah, y'all got to be careful, especially at the beginning of the month and the end of the month, because you know they got to get them quotas up. Dang, he passed on the day that the show comes back on, but yeah, that's crazy. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. But as you already know, at the beginning or the first Sunday of every month, I have to give a shout out to all of my financial supporters on both PayPal and Patreon. So for the month of September, I have to give a shout out to, and this is for the PayPal. Shout out to Audrey Wright, Courtney Stanberry, Kyla Horton, Darian Pack, Carolyn Prescott, Michael McMillan, and that is it for the PayPal contributors. What's going on, Yusef the Traveler? Now I'm going to go under the PayPal. I mean, sorry, not the PayPal, the Patreon contributors for the month of September. I'm trying to open up the PayPal app on my phone, but whenever I click on the part where I have to read the pledges, it keeps closing out on me. So I'm gonna have to read it the long way. Shout out to Classic Barrister for contributing to my channel. I'm sorry, to the PayPal. It may have been some more people in there, but I can't open it for right now because the Patreon app is acting real funny and it keeps closing on me. What's going on, Q Wilson? I'm glad that you decided to create that channel and you know, do your cooking thing. Your food looks good. Sometimes it's kind of hard to tell with you because it's like well, you already know how it is in that Discord chat when it comes to you. So it's kind of hard to tell, but your food actually does look good though. All right, well, let me go ahead and get into these topics. And I know the one I told you which one I was going to start off with, and that was the one about the most recent video that I posted. And apparently on YouTube, that is like just a huge story right now. So let me just go ahead and knock all of that out of the way. And that's Phil from the Advice Show. Not right now, Q Wilson, but if I do have any requests, I will let you know. So how many of y'all in the chat right now have seen the video that I just posted about Phil? I'm actually kind of glad that I posted that video up first before doing this live stream, because what I was going to do was I was going to talk about it on here first and then post up a video about it, probably going and elaborating more, but now I kind of did it in reverse. Well, even if you didn't see the video that I posted up about him, I'm almost certain that everybody in this chat knows about or has heard about what's going on with him, because it's kind of hard not to. It really is. Because, you know, Phil, out of all of us who speak about the stuff we talk about, he has like the biggest platform. Like, he's the only one of us who talks about the stuff we talk about who has over 100,000 subscribers, as far as I know. It could be another one, but as far as the bigger one, he definitely has the biggest. So I really don't like, well, basically for those of you who didn't get a chance to check out the video, I'll just give you a summary. I just gave my stance on the whole situation with Phil. I had some people, of course, come into the comment section and try to twist my words and saying that I shouldn't be disparaging this man for the stuff that he talks about. I said, look, in my video, I did not disparage anything that Phil does. We know, anybody who has watched his videos knows of the stuff that he has done, you know, on his platform affecting the Black community. Like I also said in that video, he personally invited me onto a hangout back in July over the summer, where it was me, Willie D, Harvey Superboy himself, and it was two other brothers on the panel. Now this was back, now you know how far back this was, because this was back before Willie D's channel got tampered with. Remember when he had temporarily lost his channel and then he went and do some avenues to retrieve it back? It was before all of that went down. So I'm not saying that you're gonna just go ahead and completely boycott Phil, anything like that, you know, because a lot of people are trying to treat it as if this guy held a gun to somebody's head and say they're gonna blow, that he's gonna blow their brains out. What I did say though, however, is that if it's true what they're saying about him saying that his wife was Black and Native American or Afro Latino or whatever, and you look at a picture and she's not, he should have been upfront about that. And it was something else that somebody had mentioned in the comment section of the video that I posted. They said one thing that made them mad about Phil was when last year, when that whole adpocalypse thing happened, he pretty much was trying to guilt people into donating to his channel. And you know what? I wish I had remembered that for my commentary, because that did happen. Some of you probably don't remember it, but now that when someone mentioned that to me, now it's all coming back to me. When that whole apocalypse thing happened, that affected all of us. Myself, Phil, Harvey, anybody who was making money from Google AdSense got affected by that. And I have no one other than PewDiePie to blame for that, because he was the one that caused all that shit to happen, and they still have let his platform sit up. But when he came out there and was basically saying things like, I'm not going to put words into his mouth. I'm trying to remember because it felt so long ago. In so many words, in his tone, he was basically saying that, Google AdSense did that, this, that, and the third. We're not going to make much money. And it's almost like he was trying to hold people hostage for getting funds out of them. And I replied to this person's comment. I said, I remember what you're talking about now. I said, if you have very good content, then the work will speak for itself and the people are going to willingly donate to you. Like when I created my PayPal and Patreon, that was more so after what happened to my original channel. Because even though the adpocalypse thing happened, my channel was still making money through Google AdSense. It just wasn't making as much money as it was. The most money I ever made from Google AdSense was damn near $1,000. And do you want to know from what video that came from? That came from that video I did about Stacey Dash 2 years ago. I did a video on my channel about Stacey Dash, and this was before I had reached 1,000 subscribers. I was right there. And that video went viral. That video reached over 100,000 views in like 2 weeks. That was my first 100,000 viewed video. And when I got the notification from Google AdSense the next month, that thing said $990 something. And it mostly came from the ad clicks on that video. When my channel got terminated, that video was almost at 400,000 views. And I was actually, before the whole apocalypse thing happened, I was this close to getting $1,000 a month, because the last big check I got from Google AdSense before that apocalypse thing happened was $701, and that was in March of 2017. When April came and I got the check for April, that check went from 700 something down to like a low 500 something. So it made a 200 something dollar dip because a lot of the advertisers pulled out. Now what I'm saying all this to say is this: when I created the PayPal and the Patreon, the reason why that happened was actually some people were saying that I should create that. At first, I wasn't going to do it, but some people suggested that I do because they felt like donating because they liked my content. So I said, okay, I'll go ahead and create the Patreon and the PayPal. And lo and behold, people started donating to me. At first, I only had the PayPal because I said, I like the PayPal because people can donate what they want, how much or however little they want. And they don't have to feel like they're being held down by a so-called subscription. But then I went ahead and created the Patreon and saw how, to see how that was going to work. And that actually is working pretty fine. The point is this: if you have good content, people are going to donate to you no matter what. And you shouldn't have to stranglehold them to get them to donate to you. Like for Patreon, for instance, if I have a person that doesn't donate to me or isn't my patron for that month, a lot of times what they will do is they will message me and they'll say something like, Tarian, I have so and so issue going on this month. I can't donate to you. I'm sorry. And to which I would reply with, okay, that's fine. Handle your business. And if you want to donate again, the door is always open, and you can uh contribute again. Because Patreon has a thing where you can edit your pledge amount. So if someone was donating maybe $5 a month, they can lower it down to say $2 a month. So they can fluctuate it however they want depending on their situation. The biggest donation I've ever received on Patreon was $50. I'm not going to tell you who it was from. Just know that $50 was the highest contribution on Patreon that I had ever received. Nikki, you said I should have made a lot of money off the White History Month videos. Bump the money. I'm surprised that my channel stayed intact while those videos were being made or being posted. Because I thought for sure those were gonna be the videos that would have got me taken down, not the one that I did later on that year. I'm surprised that it lasted that long. Exactly, Anna. Because you were definitely a huge contributor to my Patreon as well. Whether it was financially or if you were telling or giving me stories to talk about. But that right there is what actually kind of made me not want to donate to his channel, because I don't want to feel like I'm being pressured into giving you money. If he would have just said, with the apocalypse thing and so and so happened, I would appreciate if you donated to me and everything like that. People would have been fine doing that because they enjoyed the platform and they wanted the support. But the tone and how it was delivered, it just didn't sit right with a lot of people. You're right, Hood Mistress. Uncle Sam is the ultimate extortionist, and I have 3 uncles, and neither one extorts money from me, and neither one of their names is Sam. What's going on, Jamal Bay? But yeah, it's a few things that go into that. But that one right there was probably one of the biggest for me personally. I just failed to mention it in the actual commentary of the video that I posted. Hood Mistress Reloaded, you said, did you also hear about Phil's other channel? I briefly heard about it. I heard what I think maybe could have been the title of it, and I instantly don't want to go and see that. To be honest, if what you're talking about is what I think you're talking about, I would rather have not even known about it. But like I also said in the video, there's a lot of people who talk about who are making videos about Phil who don't talk the stuff that we talk about, but they're doing it because he's a trend right now, and they're going to get a lot of views from it. Now that is messed up. Like I said, I saw people leaving comments saying they don't know who it is, and then trying to judge the guy, and they don't even know who it is, but they'll make a video about it just because. Then you have some people that do talk about what we talk about and haven't said one thing about the stuff affecting us or the stuff that has come out involving us in just this week alone outside of YouTube, which I'm going to talk about in this live stream, which is why I started an hour early. But anyway, let me move on from that. I had only intended to spend about a good 30 minutes talking about that. And it is 12:34 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So technically, I think that was about 30 minutes. The first topic I wanted to talk about that would have fell into last week, of course, is Bill Cosby and all the stuff that goes with it. So as we already know by now, Bill Cosby last week, was it last week or the week before last, whenever it was, I tell you, time goes by so fast. He was convicted of sexual assault and a couple of other charges that were not rape. You know, a lot of people like to throw out that thing about this thing being that he raped somebody or raped some people. I said rape wasn't even one of the charges, but they'll keep throwing that in your face. I'm gonna talk about that Dallas-Fort Worth. That, like I said, that's why I'm starting an hour early, because I got a lot of topics to cover. I'm covering 2 weeks worth of stuff. Yeah. Are we surprised? No. We knew that they was gonna find something or some way to go after him. Now, what I have found out, and I don't know how true it is, but if it is true, that'll be very interesting. And that's something that they would really need to consider looking into. Now, what I recently heard is that they found some kind of oil pipeline going or running through one of his properties. Now, we all know if there is an oil line running under your house and you own that home, you are going to inherit a lot of money. Think about the Bushes, for example. That's how they became wealthy, was through oil, because oil is a need. It's practically a resource. Now, that's what I recently heard. Now, if that is true, lamestream media is going to try their damn hardest to keep that from reaching the surface. They're not going to want that to go past quote unquote rumor level. But if that is true, that could explain why they were going so hard at Cosby. So that whole thing about him buying NBC could have been one thing that we knew about, but that was just a slight thing. But then, you know, if this is indeed true, then it's gonna make certain people in the black community look bad, because like y'all went hard at this guy to help take him down, when all they wanted all along was not only his legacy, but money that he probably has stored away. For all we know, Bill Cosby probably, if that pipeline is there, he probably knew about it, but he wasn't saying anything. But see, they needed him to get off of that property so they could move their way in. And they're going to do it quietly when nobody's around. Hey, Dallas-Fort Worth, I actually did a video about that. I don't know if you saw it, but I did a video about that. I posted it, I think, either yesterday or the day before. Oh yeah, I wouldn't be, Yusuf, I wouldn't be surprised. There's a lot of shady stuff that's going on with this whole Cosby debacle. It doesn't just stop and end with, oh, these women accuse Cosby of sexual assaulting them, and it, you know, him going to jail for 3 to 10 years. It's a lot of stuff that happened in between that we don't know about, that they don't want us to know about. Yeah, Tariq did talk about that on his Twitter page, and he got a lot of feedback behind that too, because he had posted up one tweet, and all of a sudden it had thousands of retweets and all the, like hundreds of replies, and he made a whole thread about it. Like if you go on to Twitter and go to his page, you'll be able to see it. So, like I said, Bill Cosby must have had his hands in or on something that they did not want him to have his hands on anymore. Or, you know, because why would they go so hard at this one guy? It's like, what did he do? I always say when they go hard at someone like that, I'm like, what Jew did you piss off? You had to have really pissed someone smooth the fuck off for them to go this hard at you. And see, if Bill Cosby was to say, I don't know, come out and say, I have an oil pipeline running underneath my house, that money belongs to him. Now, that's more money he's going to get on top of the hundreds of millions of dollars he's amassed over the course of his career. They already don't want him to have that. So what makes you think they're going to want him to get a hold of that oil and reach billionaire status? Because that'll make him an instant billionaire right there. As of right now, I don't know what Camille Cosby can do, but I hope she is safe because, you know, these palm-colored Neanderthals, they will not stop at anything when it comes to that mean green. I will be pleasantly surprised if Harvey Weinstein even spends one night in jail. Sonia, I didn't hear about that. You said, what about this sexual stuff going on between the judges, lawyers, the families prosecuting Bill Cosby? I didn't hear about that, but I wouldn't be surprised about any of that stuff either. Like I said, a lot of this stuff with Cosby is very shady. It's very, very suspicious. But like I said in my video when I posted it up on my main channel, they had to get the black community or black society to rally against Cosby so they could move their way in. If black people had a code of conduct that was strong, about as strong as the wall of China, they would not have been able to go after Cosby the way that they did. Because we, for one, wouldn't have stood for it. But because we don't, and a lot of people got on their side and whatnot, that's why I can't have a discussion about Bill Cosby with certain people. That's almost like having a discussion about politics or religion. It's just not, it's falling into that category. What's going on, Craig J? Now, another thing I wanted to talk about when it came to Bill Cosby is none other than Amber Thorne. Y'all know her as Amber Rose. I call her Amber Thorne because that's exactly what she is. Because she is, to me, she is not a rose in any sense of the word. That cue ball head bitch gonna come out the side of her long ass giraffe ass neck and say that she wishes death on Bill Cosby. Now, that's not the first time she has said or made some disparaging remarks involving Bill Cosby. Hold on, y'all. I got to take this call right quick. All right, y'all. I'm back. But yeah, see, that's the thing, Sonya. She is over that whole slut walk thing. Her calling her a slut and trying to shame her would not really affect her or offend her. She probably enjoys it. But yeah, she said that Bill Cosby deserves death for what he did. Meanwhile, how many of these other white not accusers, these white males have committed actual acts of rape, child molestation, sexual assault, sexual deviancy, and there's actual proof that they did. And this heifer didn't say one thing. I wrote on Twitter yesterday, and I have to thank Nicole from the Cosby for pointing this out. I bet Amber Rose would not say she would wish death on Brett Kavanaugh. I know she won't. Yep, Charlie Sheen. That guy was walking around with AIDS and shit, sleeping with women and whatnot. Living a true sex, drugs, and rock and roll type of lifestyle. She wouldn't say that about Les Moonves, that's for damn sure. But I did hear that Keisha Knight Pulliam, aka Rudy Huxtable, came for her ass again. Because if y'all remember, when she said some crazy shit about Cosby a couple years ago, Keisha said some things to her then. And I think she came back at her again. Like, you don't wish no death like that on no man. You don't have the proof that he did what he's accused of. She made it sound like she was some scorned ex when she made that comment. But I'm glad people went in on her though. Like, people went and came for her head. Now they do say, now they do still play reruns of the Cosby Show on TV One. I know this because I was just watching some reruns a couple days ago. Exactly, Leslie. Stephen Collins, he admitted that he was messing around with little girls, and even his own wife confirmed it. But he didn't spend a day in jail, and that Up channel thought they were slick because they slipped Seventh Heaven right back onto their channel. I happened to be going through my channel one day, and I was like, hold on, Seventh Heaven. I was like, I could have sworn that Stephen Collins just admitted that he was messing around with little girls and that they were going to take it off the air, but they slipped that shit right back on and think no one was going to notice it. I saw it. No, Craig, she's not going to talk about that because to her, stuff like that is considered low priority. If it's not about her shaving her head or exposing her vagina to the world because she got a little bush down there, y'all remember that picture, or her damn slut walk, she could care less. Appreciate it, Miss Yum Yum 69. To answer your question, Sonia, about Bryan Singer and Kevin Spacey, that's no and no. As far as people are concerned, Me Too got its golden goose in Bill Cosby, and they could probably care less about anybody else. What's going on, Ray Gunn? No, she didn't say anything about Les Moonves, and I don't expect her to either. And speaking of people that Amber probably won't talk about, did y'all hear about this guy by the name of Cody Wilson? I actually did a video about him last week. He was the guy that created this 3D printed handgun or something like that. I think he's from Texas. And he went all the way overseas to some country, and they would extradite him back here because he was brought up on charges of child molestation. I bet you won't hear Amber talk about him. And that was recent. I heard Russell Simmons, he left the establishment. He said as soon as he got cleared, he said, I'm out. As far as I'm concerned, he did the smart thing. He did that because he knew that they were going to crucify him if he stayed here. But see, here's the thing. He did this after he was cleared. Unlike Roman Polanski, he still had the investigation going and he left. I wouldn't say LeBron needs to leave the US, especially now, because if he was to leave up and now, there would be a lot of questions and a lot of suspicions as to why he's leaving. And those would be questions they would expect him to answer. Honestly, at that. They're gonna go after people that they feel that they can get a big story out of. So you gotta think for a second. Bill Cosby was their biggest go-to person so far as a black male. Who can they go after now that's on the same level as Cosby or better? Who is someone that a lot of black people as a collective admire, who has a lot of wealth and influence? There's nothing going on with LeBron James. They just putting it out there that they might go after him. Okay, I see someone say Denzel. I see Jay-Z. Those are two good options. Will Smith. Sam Jackson. Oh, they have their radar on somebody, but it's like we'll never know until it actually comes out. One thing I like about Denzel Washington is he likes to keep his life private. He said he rarely goes to any red carpets, and the only time he really does is for his films. Other than that, he doesn't go to Hollywood parties like that or things of that nature. He keeps his life very private, and I think I attest that more so to his wife keeping him more grounded. Well, they kind of almost did with Dr. Dre. Remember that incident that happened with him in his driveway a couple years ago with that white guy? But that was kind of like it was like a really not a big thing, but it was racial profiling, definitely. You said Oprah. If Oprah even sneezes wrong, they definitely gonna go after her. You said Beyonce. Beyonce might have that effect the way that Michael Jackson had. The way I said that is because of the fan base. When Michael Jackson was going through all that stuff, his fans were still there. They were still loyal. See, the media, their hope was that he would lose his fan base, but all it did was his fan base got stronger. And I think she might fall into that category, but who knows? He said Chadwick Boseman. I hope not, and I might sound silly saying this. I hope not because I need Black Panther too. R. Kelly. If he was messing with them white girls, they would have been got him. Michael B. Jordan. Possibly, especially since Michael B. Jordan it was something I saw on Twitter involving him. It was something in dealing, it said black mythology or something like that. It was trending on Twitter, but I can't remember what it said. Okay, Reagan, you said you're gonna go see Venom today. Well, let me know what you thought. Oh yeah, they've been one Colin Kaepernick mess up. They actually tried to comfort Beyonce when she did that performance at the Super Bowl back in 2016, and I think that's as close as far as attacking her character that they've come. Okay, basically, what Michael B. Jordan was talking about, he was talking about Black folklore and his interest in everything in it, and then all of a sudden, the white side of the internet got so upset with him because of his stance on what he said, as usual. No, it had nothing to do with the Superman thing. You know what? I take that back. He actually said the opposite of that. He said, and this is his quote, he said, "We don't have any mythology, Black mythology, or folklore. Creating our own mythology is very important because it helps dream." I'm gonna have to look into it some more because that was just the quote. Yeah, Joseph, I saw that recent thing about Cat Williams. They said he just got recently arrested, probably on some misdemeanor stuff. I said that doesn't look good considering what transpired with him a couple weeks ago. Although I agree with what he said about those comedians and Tiffany Haddish, because I don't label her a comedian. Jason Whitlock, Jason Fatlock, Porky Pig, Jason. You know, now when they come for Jason Whitlock, you already know what's about to happen. Well, let me go on to the next topic. Okay. So y'all remember when I had did a video about the National Museum of African American History and Culture hiring that white lady to be the curator for the hip hop exhibit, and how you had them individuals caping for her? They call them the blue check Negroes. That shit disgusted me. It really did. And I think the biggest thing that disgusted me about the entire thing was the fact that a black man said, "Look, why can't you just get another black person to curate the hip hop exhibit? After all, that is our art form. We don't care how many degrees that white woman has. We don't care how many books she's read. We don't care how many albums she's listened to that had the parental advisory sticker on them. Just get another black person to curate this museum." And then you had the likes of April Rain, who was the main focal point of the video I did about it, and other people like Simone Sanders, who I mentioned in the video as well, caping for this woman and attacking this black man, talking about stop being a bully. Excuse me? And not once did that woman come to that white woman even say thank you for them quote unquote caping for her. She just kind of nodded her head. Well, based on what I've heard, it said that she just gave them a like or gave them that heart emoji. Hold on, Ray Gun, don't do that. We are nowhere near related. And like I said, do you think that that the Holocaust Museum would allow a black person to come in there and even do one of their exhibits? No. And rightfully so, because black people didn't go through that as an experience. But they have to find a way to have a white person inserted into every facet of our history. That's why our history is so fucked up now. Why would you allow a group of people into your history that fucked up your history to begin with? Craig, she probably did. She probably did. Always wanting a pat on the head and a little tap on the ass. Like I said, the biggest thing that made me mad was the fact that they came at that black man for telling them, why can't we just get a black person, excuse me, to make to curate the hip hop exhibit? That's just like when those black men were in Oklahoma and Tulsa protesting for, that woman that got hit by that Asian hair store owner to not go into their stores, and you had that one chick that going to be the loudest one up there, sounding like a damn chihuahua, coming in that black man's face telling him he was wrong. But you want black men to protect you. Exactly, Yusuf. They could have gave that job to maybe a hip hop pioneer who we haven't seen or heard from in a long time. They would know how to do it because they were involved. Or maybe what you could have did was contacted a lot of people who were involved in hip hop back in the day and say, hey, we're going to make an exhibit at the museum and we would like your input, maybe contributing, so you can have your own exhibit. That way they can all have credit for their own piece of the exhibit. But no, you want to give the entire exhibit to this white woman whose name is Timothy. First of all, Timothy is a man's name, is a male name. What the hell? What's going on, Cat? Yeah, Rottweiler. Her name is Timothy. What's going on, Joe? You said Chuck D co-signed it? Well, that's terrible on Chuck D's part. But that's the thing. When they basically called that man a bully and came at his neck, I said, y'all are willingly giving away your history to these people. And some of them know what they're doing, but they want to play like they're naive. You're not naive. You know exactly what the hell you're doing. No, she's not a trans. No, the woman's not a transgender. It's just that her parents gave her a boy name. That's why I said I question her parents. It's crazy because her first name is Timothy, and I think her middle name is Anne. So you mean to tell me that Anne felt was more appropriate to be a middle name than a first name? They probably do, Anna. But yeah, like I said, if they're not going to invite you to create something at an exhibit that's dedicated to them, why would you do that for a museum that's pretty much for us? Especially when it comes to the hip hop, people take that hip hop seriously, especially the throwback old school hip hop. You know, the foundation. Let me go on to the next topic. I wanted to talk about this guy by the name of Crispin Mwale. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. I didn't do a video about him, but I know a couple of people who did. But he is the African, I forgot what nation he came out of. He was dating this Asian chick, and I think this happened over there where he's from. And some of the Asians over there got wind that he was dating her, and they proceeded to beat him to death. And they were using everything but their hands and feet. They were using blunt objects. I even saw one hitting him with like a metal pipe. And when I saw the video, his face was completely covered in blood. Not crispy, Crispine. It's spelled Crispine. Oh, you said it happened in Asia. Okay, it's happening in China. Okay. I kind of now that y'all say that, it makes sense because there was way too many Asians there. But yeah, it was on video. Like you can go and look the video up, and he's actually on video getting beat to death, and he's like crying out like for somebody to help him and everything like that. But it was like about 5 or 6 Asians there, and they were beating him with objects, and his face was covered in blood. The video cut off before he was dead. They said even after the man took his last breath, he was still being beat on. Like if I was to post that as a commentary type video and I was to show the video of him being beat, I would have to age restrict the video. That's how bad it was. Like he didn't stand a chance. He was by himself. Now I don't know what happened to the guys that beat and killed him. I can only hope that there were some consequences, but I didn't even want to go into the story after just seeing that video alone. That was enough for me. They sure didn't, Miss Yum Yum 69. They sure did not touch that Asian chick that he was with. And see, that's the difference between us and them. If we have somebody who is dating outside of the race, the most we'll probably do is just speak ill of them. Them, and when I say them, I'm talking about everyone who is not black who deals with this. They'll take it to the extreme. That's how I don't know why people say black people are the most savage people in the world. Because either they will kill the person or do harm to the person who they're in the relationship with, or they'll do harm and or kill the person who is the same race as them and who's in a relationship with the person who is not the same race. They did worse than the Rodney King Joe Johnson because at least Rodney didn't die. And Rodney didn't get beat on because he was involved with a white woman or any other woman else other than black. No, I didn't hear that Dallas Fort Worth. I guess it would make sense that they go there since that's where he was killed. I heard that they have a lot of sexual problems going on over there in China, mostly due to population. You said not enough women over there. They said they're going to take our woman child policy in China. Yeah, I heard that too. They're mostly giving birth to a lot of males, and as we all know, males cannot reproduce. And with China having that thing where you can only have one child per household due to population, that cuts down a lot on their growth. See, when it comes to us, they need us for repopulation standards. We are like their reset/restart button, so to speak, if that makes sense. Like I said, the best story that ever came out of Africa involving dealing with them racist ass Chinese was when the Chinese had opened up a shop there and decided that they were not going to allow the black locals there who are from there to frequent their business after a certain time. And the people who were there said, fuck that. They went back to that business after the store was closed after dark, took some Molotov cocktails and launched that shit at that business and burnt it to the ground. I said that was probably the best story that I've heard. When them Chinese people came back the next day, they saw that their business was black and and smoking. It had already went up in flames. I said that story will never leave my mind. And then wasn't it one recently where it was a Chinese person there who got into it with some locals and they would, they had to rough him up a little bit? And see, the thing is, when I was looking at the picture of that business that the Chinese own, it would have only took one Molotov cocktail to burn it because the business was not even that big. It looked like a hut. If they had axes and stuff, they could have probably knocked that shit down like it was a tree, but that would have took too long. Okay, the next story I wanted to talk about, I actually talked about this one in a video when I was on my way to work. Do y'all remember the story I did about the white woman podcast they had where they were sitting up there fetishizing black men and whatnot? I think I did it last week. It had to be last week. About those two oddly exotic bird of women making that podcast talking about how one of them was saying how she liked a certain type of black man. She said that the one that she was with was tall. She described his height and his build and everything like that. But she said he wasn't black enough or anything like that. And her co-host had said something to the effect, well, what do you mean by that? She said, well, he wasn't like a thug or anything like that. That right there is an issue because that's how many white people, especially a lot of white women, see a black man or the ideal of what they believe a black man to be. That lets me know that some of the type of programming they've been watching as well. And that's when I had mentioned in that same video where I was at work, and I forgot what concert it was I was working. Donald Glover. I was working that Donald Glover concert, Childish Gambino. And it was this fat looking white chick who looked like she was made of mayonnaise and marshmallows. And it was like giving me this weird, creepy stare down. Like that shit creeped the hell out of me. And it was in a room, it was in an arena where the lights are out, but you can see because of the lights from the stage. And I could see out of the corner of my eye that she was looking at me real weird. And then she tried to pull me in to try to like dance with her. I was like, first off, I'm on the clock. And I planted my feet into that ground where she couldn't pull me anymore. And I immediately pulled my hand back. Like that shit creeped me out. And then she kind of looked at me and then she kind of went back to her friend. Because I think she had got the point. And I didn't have to say much. Ah, Craig, you remember what I said? Shook her ass like a bowl of jello. Yeah, Joe Johnson, just like that. Look, just like that. And then on top of that, she was drunk too. I don't know if y'all have ever experienced how white women are when they get drunk, but that shit is weird. I've noticed that a lot of white women, for the most part, whenever they get drunk, they all pretty much act the same exact way, no matter how they look. Exactly. They get real aggressive, like she was. But I also said in that video too is black women, you also have to be very careful about how you describe your ideal black man when they are around. Because they did not just pick that up from anywhere. They had to have got that from somewhere. The women in that podcast, they had to have picked that up from somewhere. And I highly doubt that another black man was describing another black man in that way. Oh, they're like vultures. They listen to everything with that eagle eye. What's going on, Black Rage? Like when she had tried, like first off, when she tried to move in close to me, I had this look on my face like, no, she's not coming in my direction. Eagle, evil, shit, same difference. Because the reason why I say that what I said about black women is because I was watching a video where someone else was discussing the same topic about those white women in that podcast, and they put it side by side with a video where it was some black women on a panel describing the type of black men they like, and it was almost the same exact wording. The words were a little bit different, but they were saying the same exact thing. Oh, they wanted a thug or the bad boy or this, that, and the third. It was the same exact thing. They weren't talking about wanting the scholar or the well-off to do black guy. If you want to know how a white woman really feels towards a black man, look no further than that movie Mandingo. And y'all know exactly what scene I am talking about. Okay, the next story I wanted to talk about, this story really pissed me off. It really did. And I wanted to clear like some clarification because there was some things that I did get wrong about it. Did y'all hear about the 21-year-old palm-colored Neander thug who raped that Zimbabwean girl in that restroom in South Africa? I know y'all had to hear about it because you heard it from me, but you probably heard it about from other people before you heard it from me. It may. I'm not. I'm not sure if that movie is on Netflix or not, but I'm sure you can't find it on Netflix. It should be online somewhere. But anyway, that video really rubbed me the wrong way. So basically, for those of you who don't know, there was a restaurant in South Africa, and it was a 21-year-old there, 21-year-old white guy there, and this little young girl, I think she was 8, a Zimbabwean black girl, went into the restroom. He went in behind her, grabbed her, took her into a stall, and proceeded to rape her. And the way people found out is because they could hear a lot of commotion coming from the restroom. And these black men went up in there and beat the shit out of him. Like when I saw the video, all you saw was like blood coming, his head was leaking. And he tried to make it seem like it wasn't what people saw. His own ratchet ass, palm colored, Neander porky pig face, Miss Piggy ass bitch of a mother gonna come up there and try to say, oh, it's not what it seems like. I'm telling you, that white woman will get on code to protect her man, whether it's her husband, her cousin, her uncle, grandfather, son, whoever. Unfortunately, Julius Williams, he is not. But yeah, like he was very bold to do that. And like I said, that reminded me of the story that I had told y'all about a couple months ago about that white guy back in the mid to late 90s who raped that little black girl in that restroom in that casino in Vegas. And then after he raped her, he proceeded to kill her. It like that's the story right there that it reminded me so much of. I can't stand to hear stories like that. A lot of people ask what makes a person want to have sexual relations or rape a child. Well, I think I have the definitive answer for you. The reason I believe that is because they overpower them. In most cases, a child cannot defend themselves against somebody that big or that strong. Unless that child was taught in the taught martial arts or has some kind of a weapon on them where they can stab them or something like that, or some pepper spray, they really don't stand a chance. Right, Sonya, I'm glad you said that. They said that they were trying to blame it on voodoo that was concocted by their black neighbors. That was the mother's excuse. So they instantly tried to go with the whole, oh, it's the black people's fault narrative, like they always do. I'm trying to figure out like how in the hell does voodoo cause you to go and rape somebody? And why would anyone concoct any type of dark magic to make you want to go and do something like that to somebody? Right, August? That's another thing. If you have small children, make sure you assist them to the restroom at all times because stuff happens too fast. And stories like this is exactly why I don't agree with them when they tried to do that whole transgendered restroom thing, where they had a man who'd maybe transitioning into a woman and vice versa going into the restroom in which they transition into. Because at the end of the day, you never know what goes on in those restrooms. Stuff happens too fast. I'm not saying that voodoo is bad. That's why I switched it and I said dark magic. Because that's basically that what she was trying to say what they were doing. That couldn't have possibly been any type of voodoo. That had to be what she probably would have deemed as dark magic. What's going on, Sean from the Shy? Exactly. Like I said, stuff happens too fast. And not just going to the restroom, but any public place, especially a mall. Because you know malls are busy. Well, in that case, his mother needs to be in prison for life because she definitely came to his defense fast, quick, and in a hurry. There's a lot of people who not only go into the bathroom with their children, but they'll go and make sure that they go into a one of those stalls with the door closes so they can be in the stall with their child just to make sure because anything can happen too if they're at one of them stand-up stalls. You can be looking forward to take a piss. You look to your right or your left, and boom, your child is gone just that fast. At least when you're in the stall with your child, and you just might just have your back turned. There's no way that they're really going to get out. The next thing I wanted to talk about, and this is something I'm surprised mainstream media didn't touch on, seeing as how it happened now over a year ago. Who remembers Stephen Paddock? If y'all don't remember Stephen Paddock, he was the guy who did that shooting in Vegas last year. I can't believe that's been over a year now. Time just flies by so fast. But the reason why I'm bringing him up is because for this to be the so-called most deadliest shooting to happen on American soil, they didn't really talk about it. And that doesn't surprise me because Stephen Paddock was a white guy. And to this day, I don't even know if they still haven't even called that man a terrorist or not. They probably haven't. But y'all want to know something interesting? Me doing a video about Stephen Paddock last year was a contributing factor as to why my original channel got terminated. Mainly because of the title of the video. That was one of the last videos I uploaded on my channel. Of course, like someone else said, if this was a black person or another melanated person who did this, they would have talked about it all year. And you know what's so crazy? When this happened, guess what happened? Guess what came up right after this happened? Harvey Weinstein and the whole Me Too thing kicked off. I guess you can throw Kevin Spacey in there too, because he kind of came in towards the end of the month. But once that whole Me Too thing kicked off, then they completely stopped talking about Stephen Paddock. The reason why they shut it down was because of the title of the video. If I didn't title it the right way, I would probably still have my channel. The reason why they shut it down is because I titled my video and said, "Dear white people, shut up." That's what the title said. Now, if I had age restricted the video, but see, I uploaded it from my phone, so I couldn't do it. But if I age restricted the video with that title, they couldn't touch it. That's why I'm like very careful with how I title a lot of my videos nowadays. Like I know not to put the word Neanderthal in the title or bestiality in the title, because I noticed those must be trigger words, and they will definitely give me a strike for that. I know this because it happened on more than one occasion, and it always had those words in the title. Yeah, but I remember when all of that went down, and like that was a big story for like a week or maybe a week and a half. And then they quickly moved on to the next thing. And to be honest, I think that's what really started to kick off this trend of mass shooting. Because it seemed like from then on, there was mass shootings happening, popping up everywhere. Well, the next story I wanted to talk about was actually a video that I think Harvey was the only person I saw talk about. Did y'all see that video where that homeless guy was asleep inside of the Dunkin' Donuts and the employees came and poured that big ass bucket of water on him? I said that was some very disrespectful shit. And to my knowledge, I think the person got fired, and rightfully so. They should have brought him up on assault charges as well. Who knows what the fuck was in that water? You could have found another way to get rid of that person than dumping filthy water on them. I know some people might get annoyed by homeless people and things of that nature, but you didn't have to go to that extreme. Like when I saw that, because like when I first started watching the video, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what they were like going to do. I said it had to be something pretty intense for them to want to record this and for it to have gone viral. But I was not expecting them to dump all that water on that homeless person. Like I think they said all the homeless person had was the clothes on their back and a cell phone. And because of that, their clothes got ruined and their cell phone got damaged. I don't know if he was near a socket if he was charging his phone, but if he was near a socket charging his phone, he could have got electrocuted. Oh, Ashton, you said the employee that did that was black. Oh, see this now is about to head into another territory because something else happened with a black employee recently that did some nasty shit. And I think that was nastier than the dumping of the bucket of water. But there was another employee, a black employee, who I think worked at a pizza spot and spit in these people's food. I would listen. I would have threw that tacky motherfucker into that oven and baked his ass if I ever found out someone spit in my goddamn food. And what's so nasty is I saw the picture of when he spit on the pizza. Like that shit was disgusting. Like I probably didn't want to talk about that because I don't like the sight of something like that. Like that's just nasty. And he got caught on camera doing that. Like he went into the back with, while the pizza was being made and spit right on it. Good. I'm glad they charging him with something because you don't know what that person can have. And besides, even if they weren't sick, that's that person's saliva. That's coming. That's something. That's bodily fluids right there. I want to know this though. Did I hope the person whose food it was didn't eat it. I say that's one of the biggest forms of disrespect is for you to spit on somebody, or in this case, spit on somebody's food. At that point, I would black the fuck out, and it would be curtains for your ass. Not even the jaws of life could hold me back from whooping your rude and disgusting, tacky, nasty ass. If I ever found out you did something like that, I don't know whose pizza he spat on. I don't know who the customer was. Ashley, you said he was mad at his supervisor. Well, if he was mad at his supervisor, he should have went at his supervisor and discussed the situation. You don't spit on someone else's food who has nothing to do with your situation. Like that made no sense. So now not only are you out of a job, but now you have a felony charge against you. And I bet you nothing's going to happen to that supervisor. I cook my food because see, with me working now, I have to prep my food. So naturally, I have to cook my food. So I rarely go out to eat, and it saves money. So there's that. All right. Well, since somebody brought it up, we'll talk about it. Jason Van Dyke. We all know what came of that. He was found guilty on second-degree murder and 16 counts of about to say something else. 16 counts of aggravated assault and battery. The only thing that they didn't get him on was going on silent. Oh, thank you, silent. They said good on me. Okay. Um, the only thing that they didn't get him on was that misconduct charge. And I actually watched a video by Nala Says last night, and she actually really broke it down as to why they did not get that misconduct charge to him. And she basically said in so many words, the reason they didn't get it is because then that means they would have had to bring in all the other officers that were there, probably for questioning, or they probably would have been prepared to charge him as well. Like I said, as of right now, the only thing we wait for is the sentencing. Now, I did read an article where it said that 16 counts of aggravated assault and battery, which is basically a representative of the 16 bullets that he fired into Laquan McDonald's body. And what I read said that each count is 6 years. 16 times 6 is 96. For a violent crime such as that, because that's what they labeled it as, they said he has to serve 85% of it. So, in a perfect world, if that is what he is to get, he would be serving probably no less than 75 years in prison. Oh, they were hoping that Chicago was going to get torn up by this. But see, they too close to that election season in that cycle. So they don't want all of that pressure. And they had to give one up. So far this year, he is the second white cop to be sentenced to prison for killing an unarmed black person, and the third white cop overall to actually get a prison sentence. That other one was that white female cop in Georgia who tried to pin her being attacked on an imaginary black man, and where she just got sentenced to 15 years. But we'll see what happens and what comes down with this sentencing thing, because I don't know what it's all about. Like I said in my video, I cued the violins, but I had to stop a little bit and say I'm not going to get even more excited because I want to know how many years he's going to get behind bars because of this. But we will see. So we're going to keep our eyes on this one. They probably not going to sentence him until like I think maybe probably November or sometime next month, if that. I heard about that, Leslie. And you know what? No, so crazy. Tamir Rice's killer, Timothy Lohan, got a new job as a cop. That reminds me so much of Betty Shelby. Killed Terrence Crutcher, and then she got a new job as a cop. She got her job back. He just got a new job as a cop elsewhere. Now that's crazy because that all came out the same day as that verdict was read. When they read that verdict for Jason Van Dyke, a couple of hours later, Timothy Lohan, it got announced that he got a job as a cop somewhere else, like as a part-time cop somewhere. But they kept that real low. They didn't really expound onto that. It's just that, oh, he got a new job. They kept that so quiet. Because see, the thing is, a lot of people forgot all about Timothy Lohan. But that just showed you that they said, oh, well, we'll let you have this one, but in the back end, we're going to sneak him right on in. All right, and I'll talk to you later. Pseudo kit. You say Geiger might get the same outcome. Same outcome as far as what? And another thing too that I had learned by Jason Van Dyke not being hit with the misconduct charge, that means he's still eligible to receive his pension. If he got hit with that, they would have snatched it away. Now we all know he's not going to get the pension, so the pension naturally is going to go to his family. Yeah, we know they really didn't want to charge it. Now that's going to be the other story that us as black people have to stay focused on. There's so many. It's kind of hard sometimes when there's so much going on. There was a study that came out, or some kind of new stat that came out from the CDC. And I had saw this on the news, and I said I had wanted to talk about it on my live stream. I don't know if y'all heard it. But it says something about how 1 in 3 Americans eat fast food every single day. That means for every 2 people who do not eat fast food, that third person does. That is why the American obesity rate is so damn high. And then on top of that, you got them fast food places that are literally on every corner. But I managed to dodge it because where I live at, I have a McDonald's to the left, a Wendy's across the street, a Bojangles down the other street, a Taco Bell, and a Burger King next door to each other. But I managed to dodge all of that because for the most part, I cook my food. The last time I went to a fast food place was in 2014. I don't know if I could do or be a vegan. I don't know, but I mean, I'm not gonna knock those who do. The most I probably would do maybe a pescatarian. And it has felt great. The only thing I hate is that it happened the same year that McDonald's want to implement their all day breakfast. I said, so y'all would implement that the same year that I decided not to eat fast food anymore. And I said, do y'all know how much I wanted to crave having an egg McMuffin at like 6 in the evening instead of at 6 in the morning? A Presbyterian black. I'm gonna assume that's what you were trying to say. A Presbyterian is a person who doesn't eat any type of meat except fish products. And of course, you know, a vegetarian, they don't eat meat at all. I know I'm not missing anything. I'm not even pressed to go up into a Mickey D's. Like I can ride past it and not feel any type of withdrawals. Like I'm fiending for it. Like, and the good thing is when I stopped eating fast food, I learned a lot about the stuff that is within fast food or like the fast food industry as a whole, especially coming from McDeath. Let's see. I only have 3 more topics to discuss. One of them y'all probably already know, but I'm gonna save that one for last. Now, this one was funny, but it was also talking about or dealing with typical white woman privilege. And that is none other than the mean girl herself, Lindsay Lohan. Who knows what Lindsay Lohan just recently did? And if y'all don't know what Lindsay Lohan just did, basically she was overseas where she still is and she needs to stay there, where she calls herself trying to be a quote unquote good Samaritan. And she sees this homeless Syrian family on the street and she claims that she's trying to help them and whatnot. And the thing is, she's talking with this fake ass accent that was so fake and phony as she is. It made it even more weird. But anyway, she's talking to them and she's trying to get them to come with her back to her hotel. But here's what this skanky ass hoe did. She gonna say, y'all can come, but the dad can't come. I said, I said she is so full of shit. But anyway, moving forward, she tries to guide them and everything. She tried to talk to the child with that fake ass accent and speaking the language and whatnot. and she starts following them and everything, and she says her car is over there. But the funniest part of the video was when that mother got irate and mad and punched Lindsay right in her goddamn face. But the funniest part of the whole thing was after the punch, Lindsay was like, oh, oh. She knocked the accent out of her and she realized she was from New York again, because that's where she's from. She's from New York. Y'all can go online and like find just type in Lindsay Lohan, it'll probably pop right up at the top. And then she went into the typical white woman victim thing, like saying, I was just trying to help them. And I don't know why I got hit. I was like, oh, shut the fuck up. You know exactly why you got hit. Yeah, but when she, yeah, like exactly when she was doing that, it came off real creepy and pedophile like. Like no one had asked you to go and help them. They looked like they were perfectly fine doing what they were doing. And then had the nerve to try to accuse the dad. I think she tried to accuse the dad of child trafficking, human trafficking. Yeah, but that was my laugh. When I saw that video, and I think I saw the video, when I saw it on Lovely T's channel. I think that was the first time I saw it. When she started screaming, that was the part that made me laugh. That's the thing, cats. Hollywood is pretty much done with Lindsay. Like they tried to help this chick for well over 10 years, but after she made that movie Mean Girls, her career completely went downhill. Like Hollywood does not want to work with her anymore. They are done with her. What's going on, Kim? I might do a video on it, and then get it's pretty much gonna echo what I just told y'all. But she thought that she could like quote unquote help this family that didn't need to be helped. But that's typical white female behavior. And the thing is, when she was talking with that accent, she sounded like a straight up dude. Like I was like, huh, why does her voice sound like that? And I had left a comment on Lovely T's page on channel on that video. I said, Lindsay sounds like every drug addict in the world right now. But anyway, let me move on to the second to last topic. And this is involving yet another white woman. And that white woman is Bette Midler. Did y'all hear the shit that she said? I think Nicole talked about it. Yeah, Marlene, I saw when Oprah tried to help her. Even Oprah couldn't help her. But yeah, did y'all see what Bette Midler said on her Twitter account? Talk about white women are the N words of the world. I said at that moment, black women should have came together like as Jason Black says, should have formed up like Voltron and rained all types of terror down on her goddamn Twitter account to the point where she would have wanted to delete that shit. No, she said that women are the N words of the world. In what world are you living in? Because white women are some of the most privileged women ever, and that includes you, Bette Midler. I said someone needs to knock the hocus pocus out of her ass. And Halloween right around the corner too. See, Bette Midler is one of them women that feel that she says enough stuff involving racism or trying to be anti-racist that it'll get people to support her. And she's not the only white woman to do some shit like that. No, she didn't say nigger. She said N-word. I'm repeating what she tweeted. She says, women are the N-words of the world. And yeah, exactly. They said that she says from that John Lennon song. But they said even then she kind of twisted up the words. But either way, that shit was dumb. I'm gonna look it up and see what she like the actual full tweet what she said. Because that's the part that clearly stuck out. She says women are the N-word of the world. They are the most disrespected creatures on earth. Then she came back out and apologized, saying the too brief investigation of allegations against Kavanaugh infuriated me. Angrily, I tweeted without thinking my choice of words would be enraging to black women who doubly suffer both by being women and by being black. I am an ally. No, you are not. And stand with you. No, you do not. Always have. No, you have not. And I apologize. Keep your apology. Everybody knows about Yoko Ono. Everybody, or people have heard stories about her, Robin, the Girl Wonder. But my thing is this: with her so-called apology, she said angrily, "I tweeted without thinking my choice of words would be enraging to black women who doubly suffer." So basically, what she's saying is she probably tweeted that hoping that black women would not feel some type of way about it. That's basically what she's saying. When I saw the tweet alone, I said, "What the fuck is she talking about? What does that mean? Saying women are the N-words of the world? Are you kidding me?" Right. I'm glad you said that, Ashton. She did disrespect Joe Jackson. When Joe Jackson passed back in June, she said she was glad that he was dead. That's almost echoing the same thing Amber Rose said about Bill Cosby when she says, "I can't wait for him to die," or "I hope he dies," and whatnot. Like I said, their apologies are not genuine. They are not genuine. Yeah, unfortunately, Julius Williams, when you say there are black folks still capable for her, and one of those damn black people that's capable for her is none other than Killer Mike. When I went to go Google what she said, the whole thing, what I just read to you, his fucking face was in the next article over saying that he accepts her apology. She didn't even apologize. You know what? Her and Kathy Griffin are almost neck and neck for these so-called allianced white women that they think that they have black women by the horns. They are like one in the same, two peas in that same rotten pod. I didn't hear anything from Oprah. So first, you're glad that the father of one of the biggest musical groups that also produced one of the best entertainers of all time. Two, if you include his sister or his daughter, you're glad he's dead, and now you want to say that women are the N-word of the world. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, Bette Midler hasn't been relevant in years. In years, and I do mean years. But the last topic I wanted to get on, and I think it's pretty obvious at this point, Brett Kavanaugh and his confirmation. So, as we all know, Brett Kavanaugh is officially confirmed to the Supreme Court Justice. None of us are surprised. Many of us don't give a damn. But people like Michael Caputo seem to think that we do, because he came out of his mouth on CNN saying that if he gets confirmed, that Black Lives Matter or Black people was going to riot. It's been over 24 hours, damn near, since his confirmation, and there hasn't been a riot by Black people yet. Pseudo kid, I'm not opening the panel today, and I'm almost done. By the way, none of us are surprised he got confirmed. It was all a shit show. That's what they set it up as, and that's what it was. I made that video about Susan Collins saying how she supported him, and I said that's how white women get on code and stay on code. They did the same thing with Trump back in 2016. When because they think they know us so well. They don't know us that well at all. And I said those white women have no one else to blame but themselves because over 50% of them voted for 45 and 45 brought in Brett Kavanaugh. So technically, it's mostly their fault. And I'm willing to bet that a lot of them that don't like Brett Kavanaugh voted for 45. At this point, I mean, they can try to do as many other post investigations that they want involving him, but at this point, I think it's too little, too late. Because I do believe he wants to, and he might overturn Roe versus Wade, and that's the one that a lot of them white women, especially the Me Too heifers, especially the ones that hijacked it anyway, are scared of. Oh yes, there's going to be a lot of wake up calls going forward. A lot of them. There's going to be a lot of times when I'm probably going to cue the violin. Oh, speaking of cueing the violins, can you imagine when I get to cue the violins on Me Too? Oh, that is going to be wonderful. That is going to be wonderful. Yeah, that picture of Daniel Hoswell when he got announced all of his sentence when he got sentenced, that picture forever will be funny to me. That's going to be a wonderful day when I get to play the violins for that so-called movement. if you want to call them that. They just need to move right on along because their time is up. If they were actually fair in their assessment with how they went after these men, instead of just pining after black men like Bill Cosby, then maybe they'd have a leg to stand on. But since we see right through them, they can get canceled. Oh, don't forget, don't worry, Porsche 382. I actually, when I found the violin sound that I used for the video, I saved it in my playlist. That way I won't have to go searching for it. All I gotta do is go over to my playlist, click it, and then proceed to record the video. All right, y'all. I think I'm pretty much done. Like I said, that Brett Kavanaugh story that was the last topic I was going to discuss. I'm gonna just go ahead, probably get ready to go get me something to eat because I'm actually hungry. I always get hungry after I do these live streams, but I don't want to eat during it because y'all don't. I don't want y'all to hear me smacking into that mic. That's not. That's not sanitary to me. But yeah, I'm about to hop off of this right quick. Go get me something to eat, rest a little bit because I do got to work this evening. But I'm glad y'all was able to tune in. We covered a lot of topics today. Like I said, we was covering 2 weeks worth of stuff in a little over 2 hours. So I will talk to y'all later on the main channel. Y'all already know what to do. The email, PayPal, Patreon, all of that will be available in the description, once this gets posted. And I will talk to you all in the next one.